A stormy period across central and eastern Kentucky kicking off now with some booming showers and thunderstorms. We'll track that and the remnants of Tropical Storm Bill just ahead.
The investigation continues tonight into an incident involving a police officer allegedly striking a man with his vehicle.
A fugitive from the state of Arizona has been found living in Lincoln County for the past 2.5 decades.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
We have heard the rain here on Winchester Road. We have rounds of showers and storms in the area right now.
And some of them are severe. It's a pattern we're going to see over the next few days. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is tracking it all on the First Alert Defender. Chris?
Guys, when you get this much humidity in the atmosphere, and we've been talking about it for several days, something has to give, especially you get a cold front into the area, you get a tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico throwing a little juice our way as well. Heavy rain and lightning with all the storms that are out there. Let's get into it. Live First Alert Defender now picking up on a lot of storms across central and eastern Kentucky. And boy, oh boy, what a light show we are getting into parts of the Lexington metro now. Several clusters of storms, keeping an eye on some strong storms now popping into northern parts of Harrison County. Strong thunderstorms here on the east side of Bourbon County, heading into Bath County, southern parts of the Nicholas County area, all over sections of Mount Sterling, back into Winchester and southern parts of Fayette County. Thunder and lightning galore. How about downtown Winchester? Boy, it is a mess right now. A mess along Interstate 64 here near where we exit onto the Mountain Parkway into Clark County. That extends back to the west, southern parts of Fayette County, Childsburg area, back toward Hayes Boulevard, Jacobson Park area, Richmond Road. Here's where the Live First Alert Defender is located on Winchester Road. We're looking to the south from where we are, and we can see that storm as the rains here begin to lighten up just a little bit. Torrential rains, though, falling on the south side of town, Tates Creek Road, back over toward Nicholasville Road. You're getting hammered with thunder and lightning. Watch out for a little street flooding, at least on the minor side with some standing water. Northern parts of Jessamine County, heavy rain producing showers and storms there. Look what's brewing back to the west. Another little round trying to make its way toward Lawrenceburg and Versailles. That may move into Lexington coming up here within the next hour or so. Showers, thunderstorms. This is really exploding now from Somerset through the Lake Cumberland area and points to the west. One more little shower heading toward Corbin. You get the idea. It's clusters of thunderstorms that we're going to continue to track across central and eastern Kentucky. Then, guys, later this week, we'll focus on what is left of Tropical Storm Bill, and I'll show you how that may impact our weather around here. That's just ahead.
Chris, thank you. We're learning now more about an accident while trimming a tree that took a man's life today.
It happened on Wise Path north of Georgetown around 1:30 this afternoon. WKYT's Monique Blair has been tracking down details. She is live at the scene with the latest on what we've learned in our top story at 5. Monique?
Today around 1:30, the Scott County Fire Department was called to a home just about 1.5 miles down the street from the department here for a report of a man pinned down by a tree. Now, when firefighters and EMS got to the home on Wise Path Road, a man was unconscious with a tree on top of him. Battalion Chief Craig Wink says it appears the man was trying to cut down the tree when it fell on him. A family member then went outside and heard the chainsaw running, and that's when they realized the man was stuck under a tree. Battalion Chief Wink says about 4 emergency officials lifted the trunk of the tree off the victim, but he was unconscious and not breathing. He was transported to Georgetown Community Hospital, where he died.
We did notice that when the individual was cutting the tree down, that some of none of the limbs regularly had been taken down, which could have caused part of the problem, but it was more than likely just a really bad accident.
Now, right now, that victim's name has not been released, but Battalion Chief Wink says he was a prominent and well-known figure in the community. Reporting live in Scott County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Fire officials say the victim lived on the road where the accident happened.
We're learning more today about what happened before police say a police officer hit a man with his cruiser and crashed it into a store. That crash happened last night at a Family Dollar store on Southland Drive. WKYT's Jordan Valines is tracking new details in that investigation.
One of the windows here at the Family Dollar on Southland Drive is boarded up after yesterday's incident when we're told that a police officer ran into the window after striking a person with his vehicle. On Tuesday afternoon, police released more details in this investigation by identifying the two people involved. They say Lexington police officer Jason Burnett had placed 44-year-old David Schlechte under arrest for disorderly conduct. And they say that Officer Burnett had handcuffed Schlechte on the sidewalk between the Family Dollar and the police cruiser. That's when police say the officer got back into his car and somehow lost control of it, causing it to go forward, hit the building, and Schlechte. Police didn't know if Schlechte was just struck or pinned between the car and the building. He was taken to UK hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Lexington police say they're reviewing the Family Dollar surveillance video to hopefully get more information as to what exactly happened, but they aren't positive that the accident was actually caught on tape. In Lexington, Jordan Belines, WKYT.
David Schlechte was released from UK hospital this afternoon.
A man is in a central Kentucky jail today after spending more than 3 decades on the run. Police finally caught Daryl Bullock in Lincoln County. WKYT's Phil Pendleton shows us how a fugitive from Arizona was finally arrested in Stanford.
That man is 51-year-old Daryl Bullock, who was convicted of stealing a lot of cars in 1982, made parole in 1983, and for the past 25 years has been living here in Lincoln County.
He was a little surprised.
Lincoln County Sheriff Kurt Folger says deputies surrounded Bullock at 150 Auto Sales and gave him no room to escape. For more than 30 years, police say Bullock had eluded them. He had been arrested for stealing numerous cars and other items in southern Arizona. Past 25 years had lived in Lincoln County. Folger says Bullock worked different jobs, but recently had worked at the 150 Auto Sales as a mechanic. He was arrested without incident, is now awaiting a trip back to Arizona.
They stated that they would extradite this subject. Now it's going to be left up to Cochise County, Arizona, to make arrangements to have them come in and pick up the subject to take back to Cochise County.
Daryl Bullock remains here in the Lincoln County Jail. We asked to see if he wanted to talk to us about all of this, but he declined. Much more at 6 o'clock in Lincoln County. Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The sheriff says Bullock will be extradited to Arizona, but it's not clear when that will happen.
We have learned the name of a man found dead on the roof of a building at UK. The Fayette County Coroner's Office has identified the man as 51-year-old Kurt Boren of Richmond. The building housing graduate students and their families. That's where the body was found, on the roof there. UK spokesperson Jay Blanton says the student who lived there either subletted the dorm to Boren or was letting him stay there.
You're not allowed to sublease or stay in residence halls or apartments that are owned by the campus without permission, and that there was no permission to do that. There aren't any regulations or policies that would allow that, so that would not have been allowed under our regulations.
Boren underwent an autopsy today at the state medical examiner's office in Frankfort. The cause of death has not been released, but officials say they do not suspect foul play. 6 students have died in an apartment balcony collapse in Berkeley, California.
All of the victims are from Ireland. Another 7 people were injured. Chris Martinez is at the scene with the latest on the situation.
Investigators are examining this 4th-floor apartment balcony where at least 6 students from Ireland fell to their death after it collapsed. 7 others were hurt, many with life-threatening injuries.
I was absolutely devastated to hear the news. All our thoughts must go to the families and the loved ones and the friends of the numbers that we have heard.
Police say more than a dozen people celebrating a 21st birthday party packed the balcony early Tuesday morning.
It was just a loud crash and then silence for a couple of minutes and then just screaming.
I saw all the rubble on the ground and just Irish people just in tears.
2 students, desperate to find their injured friends, waved down Gerald Robinson for a ride.
They were just distraught. I didn't talk with them at all. They were just comforting each other.
This building was built just about 9 years ago, and it's just a couple of blocks away from the Berkeley UC campus. Officers have closed off other balconies in the complex as a precaution.
Our investigators are working with the Berkeley Fire Department as well as city inspectors to try and determine exactly what happened.
Many of the victims were in the U.S. on temporary work visas. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Berkeley, California.
The Irish Consul General in San Francisco is providing assistance to the victims.
Police arrested a father they say drove drunk with his son in the car. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Madison County. Berea police say they stopped Jose Tenzia Chanco after he ran a traffic light. They say he smelled of alcohol, had slurred speech, and empty beer bottles in the car. We're told his son was in the passenger seat. The driver is charged with DUI, wanton endangerment, and traffic violations. In Lawrence County, a coal truck closed down a highway today. The truck turned over on US 23 near Kentucky 3398 north of Louisa. You can see the coal spilled out and caused a big mess at that scene. Lawrence County Emergency Management says the driver was okay.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Here's a look at the most viewed stories in our website right now. People want to know more about a school employee accused of soliciting photos from a student, Kentucky's new booster seat law, and the investigation into a body found on a roof at UK. You can find these stories and more on WKYT.com. A U.S. airstrike has killed one of al-Qaeda's top leaders. The terror group says Nasser al-Wahishi was killed in Yemen last weekend. He is the group's second in command, responsible for the so-called underwear bomber plot to blow up a U.S. airliner back in 2009 and for the attack on Paris magazine Charlie Hebdo earlier this year. Analysts say his death is a major blow for the organization.
Donald Trump wants to add a new job to his resume. The real estate mogul and reality TV star announced this morning he's running for president. Trump gave an hour-long speech in New York where he took jabs at the Affordable Care Act, immigration, and the U.S. unemployment rate.
Our enemies are getting stronger and stronger by the day, and we as a country are getting weaker.
Trump has teased presidential runs before, but always backed out. This time, he's polling well enough to possibly earn a spot in the first GOP presidential debate in August. A hearing on the federal employees' massive cyber attack became heated today. A House Oversight and Government Reform hearing is looking into last week's security breach at the Office of Personnel Management. The federal government is not describing the extent of damage from two data breaches, and that's frustrated the committee chair who is trying to get answers.
Does it include military personnel?
As I said, this is an
This is a yes-no question. Does it include military personnel?
I would be glad to discuss that in a classified setting.
Lawmakers asked about the scope of the hacking. The director of the U.S. Office of Personnel Management said about 4.2 million people were compromised.
Lexington Community Radio received a large grant today to help fund their new low-power community radio station. Columbia Gas of Kentucky presenting a check for $15,000 to the station at the Lexington STEAM Academy. LCR and STEAM Academy have partnered to give students the chance to learn the technology and production skills in broadcasting in a way that benefits the community.
STEAM Academy is our home. It's where we've got 2 studios. They're almost completed. We're about to start bringing in all that high-tech audio equipment. And we'll have 2 radio stations within the end of this year. Our first one will go online later this summer.
This fall, LCR's After School Club will begin teaching students how to host, report, edit, and produce original shows for air. They plan to begin broadcasting in September.
It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. The Food and Drug Administration moved today to phase out heart-clogging trans fats from the food supply. The agency determined that while intake of the fats has significantly decreased, it still remains a public health concern. Hannah Daniels reports.
The Food and Drug Administration is giving food manufacturers 3 years to remove partially hydrogenated oils, the major source of trans fats, from their products. They are commonly used in processed foods to improve shelf life and flavor, but they can raise levels of bad cholesterol and lower the good cholesterol.
We estimate that today's action will prevent thousands of coronary heart attacks and deaths each year.
The FDA says between 2003 and 2012, trans fats consumption dropped nearly 80%, but some foods still have them.
We're really talking about foods that are processed. Things like box cookies, box crackers, pies, things like French fries.
Currently, foods are allowed to be labeled as having 0 grams of trans fat if it contains less than half a gram of trans fat per serving. But the FDA says even those small amounts can add up.
If they were eating more than 1 serving of that, they could really consume a high level of trans fats from that food and not even be aware of it.
5 grams of trans fat.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did you know that when you picked this up?
I did not.
Any company that wants to keep using trans fats will have to petition the FDA to allow it. Hannah Daniels, CBS News, Washington.
The Grocery Manufacturers Association, the main trade group for the food industry, is working on a petition to ask the FDA for certain exceptions. It's good news for chocolate lovers. Another study suggests the treat may not be bad for your heart. A study published in the BMJ journal Heart found people who ate the most chocolate were the least likely to deal with cardiovascular disease or stroke. Chocolate was also linked to lower body mass and exercising slightly more. While researchers are encouraged by what they've found, they warned that other variables were not included in the study. Americans have some big hearts. According to the Giving USA Foundation, a record pile of cash went to charity last year, nearly $360 billion. That's the largest in the 60 years the organization has been tracking charitable activity. So where did most of the money go? Religious institutions raked in $114.9 billion.